Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Claire. I'm so excited to see you here today, and I'm excited to be doing this video because, as you've already seen the title, today's video is another review of Robert Jordan's Wheel of Time series. And today, we're looking at Book 4, The Shadow Rising. So, let's jump into it. I finished this book 2 nights ago, and I really enjoyed it. Overall, this book was really great. I feel like this was definitely a step in a totally new direction for the series. This felt like a real departure, and the first time where I really felt like we are in a different place than we have been. Had some great characterization, some great plot points, and a lot of lore kind of opening up. On the flip side, I personally found the pacing to be difficult for me to get through. This book is huge, and some of the characterizations I really didn't love, so unfortunately that brought it down a little bit in my mind. However, this was still really, really great. So let's outline a couple of the things that I thought. So, before we get into that, the plot of this story is something I don't think I'm going to do any justice to, because plot reviews are never my strong suit. This book had a lot of stuff going on, and it had a lot of separate storylines. Essentially, everybody starts in Tyr at the beginning of the book, in the Stone of Tyr, and they're sorting their stuff out. They're figuring out what the next move is, what they're going to do now. Perrin and Faile, I read it as Fail, but I also am notoriously bad at making up my own pronunciations. Perrin and Faile are there sorting their relationship stuff out, and we'll get to that. Mat is there, you know, finally a return to form for him, which is kind of exciting. Rand is doing his Randish stuff. Moiraine is there. The whole cast is there. And then they break up into little pods, which is not uncommon for what has happened in book 2 and 3 specifically. They broke up into little groups, and then we kind of have the storylines going out. So Rand and Moiraine and Land and Egwene are going out to the Aiel Waste with a bunch of the Aiel, and because Rand is trying to get in touch with that part of himself, and also to fill the prophecy of he who comes with the dragon. I think that's what that is. And then, I'm going to put this down, this book is heavy. So they're going out that way, and Nynaeve and Elaine are going to continue their hunt for the Black Ajah, and then Mat goes with Rand, and I forgot about that for the first bit of the book. Yeah, he goes with Egwene. And Rand and all the peoples. This is why I don't explain. Okay, I'm just gonna keep pushing through. And then Perrin is like, I don't want to go with Rand, even though I feel like I should. And he's like, there's trouble in Two Rivers, so I'm gonna go that way. And Faile basically cons her way into that with Loial and a couple of the Aiel. So yeah, that's basically the story. It goes 100 different directions. There's 100 stuff going on, and then by the end of this book, it did not, like, this isn't, what I'm about to say is not a bad thing. It didn't conclude. Like, there is still more to be done after that. There was like a sort of conclusion, but it was definitely like, okay, this is the next part. It's not resolved. You have to read the next book. Let's jump into the stuff that I actually like to talk about and that I actually feel like I'm good at, which is the good and the bad. I've mentioned it before, but this book definitely felt like the next step. This felt like a real departure from what we were reading previously in the best possible way. The first 3 books, especially the first one, definitely had a lot of their roots in Lord of the Rings, which, like I said, is not a bad thing, and it's totally fine that, you know, you base your fantasy book on arguably the best fantasy book ever written. It's gonna happen. But this one definitely felt like Jordan was stepping into like the next gear. He was like, oh, you liked this? Let's turn that up to 11. Yeah, this had a lot more ominous overtones. You could definitely now see how this is going to expand into the next books. Like originally when I started book 1, I was like, how on God's green earth is this going to be 14 books long? But now I read book 4 and I'm like, oh, there's a lot going on here, and this world is huge. So that is really great to like see now it opening up in this way and becoming totally its own beast is super exciting. So that was really awesome. This just definitely felt like a step into a broader, more expansive direction, which is really, really exciting and gets me hyped for the next books. All of the stuff at Two Rivers was amazing. All of Perrin's stuff, I mean, spoiler alert, he's one of my favorite characters. We'll get into my other favorite character later. He is definitely one of my favorite characters. I just thought everything that Jordan was doing in this book with him was so exciting. The development that he took, he really definitely went from somebody who was, you know, in the first 3 books, all of these characters that came from the Two Rivers were like kids, like teenagers, even naive to some degree. Like they really felt like young because they were country kids, and it was totally believable. And now in this book, I can really see him take that turn into being somebody who's at the forefront of this kind of revolution of like, oh, he's grown up now. So I really enjoyed that. I know that some people don't like Faile or all this kind of stuff. I really like Faile. I think the stuff that I don't like about her and Perrin lie in the way that their relationship is written. I was just kind of about a little bit, but I actually really like Faile, and I think she's a super cool character, so I really dug that too, that she was coming along. I mean, Loial is chef's kiss. He's great. I like Loial a lot. I think he's a cute character, and a great companion to that dynamic of Perrin and then Faile and then Loial. I think they all bring strengths and balance to each other in a way which is exciting and fun to read. So yeah, all the Two Rivers stuff was really exciting. I loved how the village came together, and how Perrin kind of drew people in, and encouraged them to stand up for themselves. All that stuff was really, really amazing. A lot more of the stuff that I liked, kind of here and there, bits and pieces, specific things that kind of like came to me. I love all of the Aes Sedai, the White Tower stuff with the Amyrlin seat, all that, those politics stuff are really, really interesting to me. So I enjoyed everything that had to do with that, the splitting of the tower, all that kind of stuff I thought was really, really cool. I personally struggle with any kind of like dream sequence in books, and like visions and prophecy stuff is always like the stuff that I least like, because I just feel like it often tries really hard to be like epic and stuff like that, and sometimes just comes across as like, okay, this is a dream sequence in a fantasy book. Like, it does not have to be that deep. But I think Jordan's dream sequences and the way that he weaves like dreaming into reality, into prophecy, all that kind of stuff, even though it's still not my favorite part of the book, I think it's a vast improvement on the other uses of dreams I've seen in other fantasy books. I think it's just so smart and so well woven together, and they don't feel like two separate things going on, but that they really affect each other. So yeah, the dream sequence stuff, the prophecy, it's all so well thought up. Great, so let's move into some of the things that I didn't like as much. Again, overall, before we get into the section, I do want to stress that I did really enjoy this book. I don't think I enjoyed it as much as 3, which I really, really loved. But I enjoyed it definitely more than 2, and I think it's kind of on par with 1 for me. I liked 1 a lot, and I like this one a lot. So I just want to preface that before I kind of get into these not so goods, because I feel like as I was writing them down, I was like, oh, these feel severe, but they're not. And at the basis of this, I really am loving this story and loving these characters. I just when I love something so much, I want it to be great, and I want this series to be great, and I can just see how it can be great. It's just not quite there yet, or not that it's gonna get rewritten or something. I just, you know what I mean? I just want it to be amazing, and I do think it's really, really amazing. It's just a couple things I felt like could have made it the best series for me possible ever. So yeah. So I just want to preface that. I don't want to be seen as like nitpicky or anything like that. I do care, and I do love a lot of this book. These are just some of the things I didn't love. Okay. The pacing. The pacing. I bring this up in every review, and I probably will bring it up again in the future reviews. I felt like we spent so much time in Tear at the beginning. So much of this book was in Tear, and I understand that that was to kind of build this sense of stagnancy and restlessness, and developing this plan that Rand has, because Rand spends a lot of time kind of mysteriously being like, I have an idea, but I'm not going to tell you. I just felt like that could have been cut down and still been just as effective. I just felt that there was so much time spent in Tyr. I was like, let's get this story moving, please. Like, I want to go somewhere. I want to be doing something. And that can happen all in one city. Like, the story could take place all in Tyr. I just felt like the characters weren't moving at the beginning of the story into a plot line that was exciting or was going anywhere. So yeah, I just felt like we spent a lot of time in Tyr. And yeah, it just brought a bad sense of stagnancy to me, as opposed to what I think Jordan was trying to do, which was kind of create like this sense of like Rand is really stalling. But yeah, the pacing, wishy-washy. I can get over that. I have a degree in history and English. I am used to skim reading, so that is not the worst sin in my book. And still a lot of great stuff happened in there. But yeah, I just felt like it could have been condensed a little bit. Cool. Moving on. Y'all, I am on my hands and knees. I am begging for some Nynaeve character development, some Nynaeve POV, some Nynaeve and Lan healthy relationship conversations. I'm on my knees. I'm begging. Please. From the onset, from the first 50 pages, loved Nynaeve. I thought she was a great character when she got roped into coming with the gang to when Moiraine and Lan showed up in the first book. I was like, yes, I love how she was like, I don't like these punks in my town. I'm the wisdom. I'm kind of like a big deal around here, and I don't want these out-of-towners telling me what to do, so I'm gonna ride along to make sure that you don't, you know, steal my kiddos. I loved that kind of character aspect to her. I thought she was so interesting. And then like this relationship with Lan came up, and I was like, yo, this is crazy. I just thought she was really cool. And in this book, she is just, I feel like she's been in the same spot mentally and emotionally and not developing in an exciting way. Like, she just came across as a brat, and it was really sad because I was like, I love you, but this is garbage. This is bad. Yeah, the stuff like where she's talking to the driver when they're going down to the docks and she's being really like mean, I just didn't like that. All this, yeah, just the whole way that she was written to be kind of haughty and just mean. She was mean, and I was like, man, I just want like some of her POV so that we can like maybe get into her head to understand why she's like this, or like some development would be really great. Or like just a crumb of conversation with her and Lan, because the only like moment that she has, I mean, also Lan is a totally different, this review is all over the place, but also Lan, like, I would like to know more about you, please give me more Lan, and we just weren't getting that. And like the only moment that we see them together is he like just rushes in and gives her a kiss and then like, peace, bye. Like, I just want more development of their relationship. I feel like it just happens in the background, and then we're just meant to, as readers, expect that it's developing in the background even though we don't see it, which is so frustrating. And I feel like that happens a lot in this book, like that relationships are meant to be developing in the background, and that once we see them again in the foreground, we're supposed to accept that they've gone to this new stage. Like Perrin and Faile, suddenly at the beginning of book 4, they're like committed to each other and in love, and I was like, I understood that you guys were into each other in book 3, but like, is it too much to ask to see you guys be like, would you like to be my girlfriend or boyfriend? Just sucks. It was just disappointing, because I love that aspect of relationships, and as somebody who loves characters, I want to see them develop their relationships with other characters, and I just felt like in this book it was taking, like, we were only seeing the relationship as it like came up to breathe and it was developing behind the scenes, and we weren't allowed to see that. Like, I want to see the development going, and I just didn't feel like we were getting that, especially with Nynaeve and Lan. It's just sad. I just want more Nynaeve. I think she's such a cool character, and we just weren't getting a lot of her. So yeah. that one. I mean, again, this book was really great. Because it was so great, these things stood out to me as being bad or not as great or up to par with the rest of the book. So much, like, the lore and the world building is so great. Why can't these other things be awesome or on par with this? So, yeah. The other thing, this is a personal one. This is a personal gripe. Just reading this book and why it brought it down lower than book 3 for me. I personally don't. This might be a hot take. I personally don't find the Aiel culture interesting to read about, and that whole time they were in the Aiel Waste, I was just like, whoa, this is a lot of information for a part of the book I really am not super invested in. I mean, they're written well, they have a lot of lore, it was really exciting. Just for me personally, I was like, okay, let's move on, let's keep going, more exciting, more other stuff. And that's a personal thing. I know a lot of people really like the Aiel. I don't think that they're lame, I think they're really cool. I'm just never interested in that kind of culture in science fiction and fantasy, you know, like the like warrior based people. I never liked the Klingons in Star Trek. So it's not surprising that I don't really love the Aiel. The culture's cool, just for me personally. I don't find it interesting to read. That's whatever. But yeah, that's my whole review. My camera is running out of battery as we speak, so I'm trying to get through it all. And it was a jumbled hot mess, but I hope you enjoyed me kind of rambling my thoughts. Like I said, I finished this book just a couple days ago, so I really just like raced to put down my thoughts because I was like so impassioned having read it. I was like, oh, I have to tell somebody about this. But yeah, overall, this book was really good. Despite all those ramblings of things I didn't like, this book was really, really great. It was super long. It took me like a month and a bit to read, but totally worth it. I feel so excited now to continue because it just felt like we really opened up into a whole new realm of possibilities for this book. And yeah, this just feels like the next step in an awesome series. So yeah, continuing on from that, I took out The Fires of Heaven, which is book 5 of Wheel of Time from my local library. This book is also hefty, but not quite as long, so I'm excited to be getting into that. That's the video today. I hope that you enjoyed this long, rambling Wheel of Time stream of consciousness video. I really enjoyed this book, and I'm really enjoying this series. If you love the series, please leave a comment. I'd love to talk about like who your favorite characters are, your favorite aspects of this book, any of the previous books. No spoilers, please, because I'm still really into it and I don't want to spoil anything. But yeah, that's the video. I upload every Tuesday and Saturday. I'm having a really fun time doing this. I'm so glad that you guys are liking these videos. I hope that you'll be sticking around. If you want to support my channel, like this video. As I previously said, leave a comment and subscribe so that you can see the next time I upload any video or a Wheel of Time video. I'm putting all my reviews in a playlist so you can check them out there. As well as that, I've got all my social medias in the link in the description, my Instagram page and my Goodreads page, where you can see some of the other stuff that I'm doing on a daily basis. But yeah, I'm so glad you guys could make it. I hope you guys have a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, whatever's going on in your life. I hope you're doing well, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, everybody.